Okay, I'd like to call the Conservation Advisory Council to order for the town of Niskayuna. This is the February 4th, 2026 meeting. Clark, could you call the roll?
I actually don't have the role. Maybe Laura can do it.
Laura?
Yeah, I can. Wait, somebody's asking to be let in. Oh yeah, check. Okay. Chairman, we do have a fair number of applicants online, just so you know.
Oh,
Um,
okay, I did not know that. Thank you.
Yeah. So we have Dan McPherson, Ellen Daviero, Portia Zwicker, Dart Strayer, Joy Wang, and Z changed the camera so I can't see everybody. And Clark Henry.
Yeah, there we go.
Hey, Laura, just so you know, we don't see any other
Yeah, we don't
applicants
see
other than
anybody
you.
online.
We just see you.
Yeah, that's just the way that screen's set up so that when I screen share, you can see
Okay.
the
Okay.
items. But you got a couple people on here.
Okay.
Are they for privilege of the floor or are they for applications, Laura?
I'm pretty sure they're for applications, but we'll just make sure.
Okay, we have December 3rd minutes to approve. Did anybody have any corrections, comments?
Oh, and Chairman, sorry, just for the record, Chuck Petrowski has joined us online.
Okay, hi Chuck. Any changes at all?
No, I thought they were, none from me. I thought they were good.
Okay, then I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to accept them?
Okay, do we have a second?
I can second it.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. The minutes are adopted.
So hold on one
Just
second.
for Trish, could you
Yes.
repeat who made the first?
I was just
and
going to
se-
say, yeah.
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 So Daniel made the motion and Ellen second.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, privilege of the floor. Okay, John, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
First name. please.
I'll be quick. My name is John Gansfuss. I live at 2162 Stuyvesant Street. And the reason I'm here is I'm the steward at the Rice Wildlife Sanctuary. And I just want to report to you guys that we had 5 members of DEC Lands and Forest doing a tour at the sanctuary yesterday. One of the people was the Region 4 forester for private lands. And just to make a long story short, I was concerned about the condition of some of the trees there, and particularly the 2 red pine groves. But the word we got is that the trees are in reasonably good shape. They're stressed a little bit because they're too close together, some of them. And the biggest problem in there is with invasive species. And that was the main recommendation we should come up with a plan to take care of them. Second thing I want to say is the Hudson Mohawk Bird Club does plan to turn that land over to a land conservancy this spring. And in fact, the Land Conservancy has the resources to take care of invasive species, maybe with some volunteers to help out. So you will be contacted by them in the near future because they have some changes in mind, such as closing off some of the access points. And I know that you'd be interested in hearing about that and the reasons for it and coming up with compromises. The last thing the DEC recommended, and I don't have their formal report yet, is that there are many grant programs out there, but they in particular recommended one from the NRCS, which is appropriate for a wildlife sanctuary, as opposed to this recent DEC grant opportunity out there, which is designed a little bit more for people who want to develop their woods for commercial purposes. So that's just an FYI. Just wanted to
Okay,
share
and we'll get more information on that,
that. For which?
the grant.
Yes, I'm looking into it.
Okay, great. Thanks.
And I hope you guys are as well.
Yeah.
For other sites.
Okay, is there anyone online that is not involved with a project that would like to address the council during privilege of the floor? If you'd like to address the council for privilege of the floor, just unmute your mic and we'll recognize you.
Yeah, I think everybody's a project.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so let's move on to the EAFs. We have quite a few to go through. The first one is EAF 2025-03, and that's 2727 Balltown Road. We have seen this project before, several months ago. This is a single lot that is going to be subdivided right down from the old Aqueduct Veterinarian Hospital, which was changed to apartments on Balltown Road. And what is unique about this particular subdivision is that one of the lots will be triangular. And in general, the town discourages that. But both lots meet all the minimum requirements for a subdivision in the town. So do we have an applicant that would like to speak before the board about this EAF? Okay, one of the things I think we were concerned about was we just didn't have the contours and the delineation of the wetlands and stuff, but I believe the applicant has provided that. So, one of the things that I know has been discussed with the applicant is an easement for a sidewalk or multi-use path in front along Balltown Road.
And Dart, I know there was also some talk about planting of trees, and I think based on the size of the lot, they agreed to put the trees on the older lot, not the new lot, due to space requirements.
Okay.
And a TDE has actually looked at this for the planning board, and we've gotten our final approval from the TDE on all those kinds of things too. Drainage. Yeah.
And they have
Yeah.
a curb cut? They got approval for a curb cut?
I don't know about that, Laura. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, they'll have to. We could put that in as a note. And they're not showing the easement yet, but I was talking away and I was on mute. The existing home is on the northern parcel, and basically its floor level starts at the contour of 366. And so the new home is proposed basically to start at 366. The back contours of the home are very similar. The front contour of the new home it's like about 2 feet higher, I think, than the existing house, and it is a much bigger house. This is the actual footprint of the house, but they are showing a swale going along the side down here. 2 trees. You can see why they couldn't put them in the front, or 4 trees actually, all on this. These are all proposed to be planted. They couldn't put them out front because all of these lines are utilities. So this is just a packed utility corridor. And then there's a detention area and then a stone outlet that goes out to the existing wetlands. And it has been reviewed by a TDE, and the last comment letter is in the packet.
Laura, so I had a question about this washout area. Is that part of the drainage of Balltown?
Oh, here, the stabilized, no. That is only when they're building the house. So when the concrete trucks are coming to put the foundation in, they have to have a place. So they have the stabilized construction entrance here so that trucks could pull in off of Balltown Road, deliver the concrete, wash their concrete bed out into this little area, and then leave. And when the construction's finished, they remove the concrete washout area.
Okay.
That's the reason that's on there is because it's part of the SWIP.
Okay.
He just put it all on one page because it's a small subdivision.
So the house, the proposed drawing that is, in front of us, there's not really any details to it. Do we have to be concerned about, where they're parking, or if they're, I struggled to find the driveway, but maybe that's just me, but maybe.
No, because he has so many layers and there's so many utilities. The driveway's right here, and it's a front loading garage. So there the cars could drive in and they could also park in this 30-foot wide driveway. The driveway is actually underneath the stabilized construction entrance. So while they're building the house, it'll be this little gravel bridge. Then they build the house and and then they'll pave a nice 30-foot front yard driveway right here. You guys want to go through the questions, or do you have specific?
Eleanor, do you have, sounds like you have another question. That's why I'm waiting.
So could you also show me, sorry, I'm apologizing, but just the sidewalk easement or what that looks like, and
The sidewalk easement isn't on here yet. I think we should make it a part of our recommendation, but the sidewalk easement would be, like a 15, 20-foot easement. And like in here, oh, you see me. The darkest line here with the 2 dots, that's the property line. So the sidewalk easement would be inside this, going towards the split rail fence. And it'd be like 15 to 20 feet inside that.
and is there a sidewalk in front of the other property?
No, there's
apartments?
currently no sidewalks on this section of Balltown Road. The Complete Streets recommended an easement there in case we were ever going to do one in the future so that you don't have to do any taking on this property. But I don't know what the future would hold for putting a sidewalk there yet.
I think it's been a policy of the board and the town to, on the major thoroughfares, to get easements along the way.
No,
So like, for example, on
I mean, I don't see-
Rosendale, there's easements there that aren't being used right now.
yeah, I mean, I think that you should try to connect this house, this house to the neighborhood in the back, right? Or- all right.
Yeah, so we actually had that conversation when the direct neighbor is the converted Aqueduct Animal Hospital.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we had that conversation to get an easement or some kind of a trail that goes kind of past this pond and over to the Amador Homes development. But in this case, that was kind of a public easement, or we were talking about him building a trail.
mhm.
You wouldn't need a public easement for these 2 single-family homes, right? Because you're not really going to invite the public to stop on Balltown Road and then walk through these properties back to Amador Homes.
Right.
It would be nice, like, if these neighbors can work out if Alex Ritro ever makes a trail, that these guys would be allowed to use that trail, which would probably normally happen. But they, as part of this subdivision, I think it'd be really hard for them to get an easement from their neighbor to go through the property to the Amador Homes. I think that because the Ritmo property isn't involved in the subdivision in any way, it might be a heavy lift for them. But in reality, if he were to build that trail, they're probably going to be allowed to use it.
Okay. And the planning, and so we're there, everyone's good with the size of the size of the house and the aesthetics of the home. Everyone's good with that? Okay. All right. And the tree council, they're suggesting the trees that are going to be planted.
Yeah, they looked at it and they were okay with, so normally the subdivision would require 4 trees, but because it's so tight, they're putting all 4 of them on this property like this. But yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay, does anybody else have any other comments they'd like to make about this project? Okay,
Go through the questions.
let's go through the questions then. Laura, are you going to lead the questions or?
Yeah, well, my computer is, it has a hard time right now when I'm sharing my screen, but let me try again. Here we go. Okay. So minor subdivision is just our normal unlisted action here. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulation?
No.
No,
Um,
I didn't know if you heard us.
Yeah, yep. I think that, I don't know if we wanted to add anything. I mean, the zoning does allow for it and it doesn't need any variances, so. Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land?
Yeah, it will, but again,
Fall.
within the constructs of the zoning, it's not outlandish.
Yeah, yeah. So I think, yeah, we normally mark, it's not a complete no, it's more of like a small, right? Because
Yeah.
Yeah.
they aren't gonna be taking a field and putting a big old house on it. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not too big. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community?
Somebody want to answer?
I'll just say no.
Okay. Yep,
Small.
small.
Yeah, because it's just one house. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area? That one's a no because we don't
Yep.
have the CEAs here. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway?
If we get the easement, there's a net positive to the
Okay, yeah,
project.
so we'll put a note there that we need the easement.
Yep.
Yep.
And Laura, what is the width of the easement that they're willing?
I would say a minimum of 15 feet. If,
So we're going for a multi-use path then?
yeah,
Okay,
um,
that's what I think it should be.
yeah, because a lot of times you're still gonna have part of the multi-use path in the right of way, but
Mhm,
like, they're 8 to 10 feet wide.
mhm.
And when you do grading and stuff, you're gonna need usually a little bit more area, so a minimum of 15 feet.
Okay.
Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy, or does it fail to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? I feel like that's normally a no, but we usually put our note here about, LEDs and energy efficient
Yeah.
homes.
We can put a comment about the home should be as energy efficient. Well, we now have the stretch standards, right? So,
Will the proposed action impact existing public-private water supply,
no,
No.
public-private wastewater treatment utilities?
nope,
And then will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources?
No.
Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources, wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, and fauna?
Well, the adjustments have been made, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
they've already been addressed, right?
Yeah, we did.
Planting,
We did.
the
Oh, okay.
planting of the trees will offset, part of that. So,
Okay.
We normally mark small here because they are clearing natural habitat. So even the loss of the field, but
Yep.
it is mitigated by planting the trees and having the stormwater management reviewed by the TDE and that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage?
It shouldn't, no,
And then will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health?
none.
Okay, so I'll make those notes on those.
So yeah, and can we just include in there that we encourage them to use solar, no pesticides, plant only native plants that have been supported by New York State. Anything else?
Yeah, we can put the usual notes.
Oh,
Yeah, and then the low
night sky.
Yeah, anything for and they're in a area across from fields, so night their night sky lighting.
We'll put the lighting note in
Okay.
and the LOMO
Sorry, my thing came unplugged. My computer is.
Okay, so we have a number of requests on this. What I heard was they need to do the tree planting recommended by the tree council. We need the easement for the multi-use path. And then what we'd like is we'd like night sky lighting, we'd like no pesticides, low mow, solar if possible, native plants.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
All the greatest hits.
Okay, then what I would recommend is we do a negative deck on this project. Is there a second?
I can second.
Okay. Any other discussion on this? Okay, Laura, so this would be subject to the conditions we just laid out. Chuck, do you have anything you want to add?
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Oh, no, you know what? Clark's Audio does this sometimes, Chuck. Can you sign back out and back on? And it'll usually fix your audio.
Okay.
So just for the person who does the notes, so Ellen seconded.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sorry. So the owner of this is the same owner of the right? No,
No.
I don't know. No, I don't think.
No, it's not.
it's the person, is it the house?
Yeah, the
Okay.
owner is the same
Yeah.
person who owns the home. It's not
Okay.
the same person who owns the apartments.
Okay, and is there an easement in front of that property currently?
Yeah, I think we asked for one. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if that made it into the final or not.
Okay. So would that be okay?
Well, no, because that property isn't before the board. So
No, but
this applicant wouldn't have any way of making the other property owner get an easement.
But if you look at the road, right, I mean, we have the church there, we have the
Yeah,
the other parcels will be easier to do, even if we just asked to put the multi-use path in. It's really these single-family homes that get put up.
right. That's why I was asking about
That's
the
the
one
challenge.
next to the,
I
yeah.
think
Okay.
we asked. Okay, Chuck, you're back. Did you, can we hear you? No.
Muted. No, he's muted. If he unmutes, he'll be fine.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, okay. Did you have anything else
Okay.
you wanted to add to this project?
No, for all of that, I had nothing. I was really concerned about the night lighting, given it its current status of the area as a field and a potential migration route, especially for the birds. But I
Okay,
think we're good. Thank you.
all right. Hearing no other discussion, there's a motion on the table. Are those in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, show that it passed unanimously. Yes, thank you. Okay, thank you. All right, let's move to the next EAF. And that is GE Vernova. That's EAF 2026-01, Balltown Road. And we have looked at GE Vernova's site plan at a prior meeting. And would you like to present any updates or anything? No?
Hello, Matt Savoy, GE Vernova Facilities Operations Leader. No real updates, but certainly can answer any questions if there are any.
Okay. I think the biggest question before the board is you're going to go before the ZBA.
Yes, sir.
For the sign.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Why don't we focus on that, on the sign,
Sure.
and we can sort of work on that.
Sure.
Okay, so could we just get a picture of the sign again, Laura? And I think it's in the packet,
Yeah, it's the G.
the
Yeah.
GE.
Can you see my screen or no?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's right here.
Page.
Okay. And could you just give us a description of the sign, the lighting on that sign, and its overall impact to the road and stuff and where it sits.
Sure. So in the packet we provided, there is in a section aerial picture, a drone picture that shows the placement, just shy of, I believe, about 200 feet. There you go, 204 feet. And there's a little person at the top there. That's the corner of the building. So I'll give you a reference point as you kind of look at the pictorials of the renders.
Now, where's the sign exactly in reference to?
So that person is at the corner of the building. So when Laura flips back to the render, that'll give you some perspective there, right? So there you can see that person was standing at the corner of the building. Obviously, the sign's in the forefront, but within, I'd call it roughly 50 feet. I don't have an exact measurement for you, but obviously within the proximity of that building,
Within the proximity, okay.
right? So pretty close to the front side of that building.
Mhm.
So actually, we refer to this as an interactive sculpture, and really the reason is what you see with people around there, right? Is it's an opportunity for people to take pictures, people to walk up. We did focus a lot on ADA accessibility. So actually, what you'll see there is as you come around from that visitor center towards this sculpture, someone could come straight across it, but also we did have a ramp access down into more of that plaza area, right? So we did focus a lot on accessibility. From a lighting perspective, internally halo lit, very similar to actually the sign that was installed on the direct air capture building. It's a low level of light. It reflects into the sign itself and then back out.
So the sign itself is not lit, front lit? It's
Like with the floodlight, is that what
Yeah.
you're asking? No,
no.
is internally lit.
And what are the hours that it'll be lit?
So right now we don't have any restriction on hours. That's limited here. We may turn it off at night from a sustainability standpoint just to look at energy conservation, but we haven't outlined any limitations on it.
As far as the lighting, I'm looking at like, what do we call the GE thing you mentioned last time you were here?
The meatball?
The meatball, okay. You were gonna say it, I wasn't, but is that, what part of that sign is lit? Is the red part lit or is it just?
So this is actually a render of it lit. So you'll see.
Oh, so it's really the outline that's lit.
Correct. So you'll see again, it's that halo shadow effect around it.
Yep.
So it's a very low light intensity.
And that's the same thing with the GE and Vernovas.
Yes, sir.
And Matt, this is Chuck. Will it have the capability of being dimmed? Basically, turned to a level.
Yeah, so-
once it's built, so we can. So let's just say the first night it's super bright, and we get feedback saying it's super bright. You can take it down a couple notches.
Yep. So we're looking to make everything fully customizable from a
Okay.
lighting package perspective. Yes.
And then also, since it's LED, will it have different colors based, or will it always be a version of white?
Yep. So the base, you'll see it would be in this white. We do have the opportunity to make it an evergreen base color, which is kind of our standard color. And then what we'd like to do as well, and we've talked about this early on in the project, right, is this is a bit of a nod to the downtown Schenectady facility, right? And as you may or may not know, they do routinely light that at the holiday time for green, I think it's red and green, and once or twice other throughout the year. So the intention would be to mimic that and continue that across both campuses in the region.
And I have to ask this, but I think I know the answer. It will not blink or flash or otherwise, light up in different letters at different times, causing attention in any way, shape, or form like that.
No, sir, it's static lighting.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
It's 400 nits, and iPhone gets up to 2,000 nits. So pretty good.
Yeah, could you share that so we hear it?
Yeah, so one of my colleagues here was just sharing some information on the lighting intensity of the sign. 400 nits, I think, was the unit, which would be what you'd see. An iPhone's about 2,000.
Okay.
Just for perspective, from a brightness perspective.
And please remind us, those letters, what's the height on those and width on those letters? I mean, I get a sense of perspective here, but
Yeah,
is
it's
it-
definitely in the package. I think the best perspective is just looking at the people standing in front of it. There should give you a decent perspective.
The letters are like 2 feet 10
Okay.
inches.
Yeah.
Okay. It's basically the size of a flag, a 2 foot by 3 foot flag for each letter. Okay.
Does
So
anybody have any other questions about
I would just, so there has been no light here before, and, you know, I would just push to make it as little light as possible to turn it off at night so that the animals and the people that, and the critters that we rely on to live can keep to doing what they do.
There is a street light there that's lit up at night too, at least
It's
right
at the
now,
end of the
correct?
driveway though, right?
And the drive, you're right, Ellen. Yeah, it's the driveway.
Yeah.
And there is existing actually floodlight out there at the ground at the monument sign.
Yes. Yeah. But it's out on the street
Yep.
near the street light.
Correct.
Yeah.
Actually, not a floodlight anymore because you guys changed it to the nice lighting, right?
Yeah. When I drove by it the other night, it wasn't, it was,
I believe the light's there. I can't speak if it's been on
Yeah.
or off. I don't want to mislead anybody.
Yeah, it's very subtle. It's just it's that internal reflected back.
Yep.
It doesn't have a floodlight anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, in addition to your GE sign, the benches seem to have lights as well. So they will also be lit.
Yep. So there's integrated lighting, throughout the project, obviously, first and foremost for safety, right? To make sure people can see where they're walking.
so I think the design is great. I mean, I like the design. It's very welcoming. I think that I really like all of the things that you've done to aesthetically, make it energy efficient. I think the last time we were here, we talked about the glass and the birds. And then, all of that lighting that exists that doesn't exist now. My vote would be just to be able to turn it off when there aren't people there or when there isn't. I mean, I can understand you have a security booth that is separate from that, and that, obviously will be probably lit and manned. Is that lit and manned 24 hours now anyways? I didn't,
So there is no guard booth today.
Yeah.
This facility will be manned 24/7. So this is where we'd be bringing visitors whenever they come in to be security screened.
they're going to drive past the security booth and then
This is before any security booth.
this is before the security booth.
So this is where you're doing the site security screening.
I thought it was before.
Here's Balltown Road right here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I thought that there was still the that structure that was there before to stop
So there
people
is.
before they got through there. But
That structure is way back here. It's like, so here's where they are. Their guard shack is like right here.
Correct. It's 1,750 feet off the roadway.
Mhm.
So the intention is, hopefully you'd stop anyone that shouldn't be going all the way into the property up here. They'd come into this security center, get security screened, or if they came in, they didn't have a purpose to be there, they'd be politely excused from the property.
so when they drive in, you can drive in and you are not going to pass anybody and you can just keep going straight. If they didn't know that that was where they were supposed to go, they can just keep driving straight until they hit
Yep. And at that point, they'd be redirected out back.
redirected back.
Yep.
Okay.
And that was one of the things that was discussed at the planning board about this. If someone didn't have the right credentials, right now you're all the way down into that other gate. It's difficult to turn around and get back. So the idea of this is you would stop here first, get your credentials. If there was any type of issue, you could easily turn around and exit the property.
Yeah.
It was kind of awkward if you're all the way down to the guard shack. So that was part
Yeah.
of the thinking.
Does anybody have any other questions in general about the development?
I think I have a question about, in relation to what we were just talking about. If a visitor arrives and they turn in off of Balltown, is there any other signage that says like, stop here?
Yeah, we'd be looking for like a small wayfinding or something to help people know, to enter the property. It should be fairly straightforward as you approach the property, right? But, we'd look to be trying to direct people into there. If they do come by this, we've got the opportunity at that guard structure to, again, politely ask someone to turn around and go back out front to be credentialed correctly.
Okay, any other questions for the applicant?
Sorry, I have one more question. Did you say there would be solar on the roof?
Yes.
I thought I was seeing that, but to check.
Okay, so you're going before the ZBA next week, right?
2 weeks,
23rd or so.
Oh, 23rd, okay.
3 weeks.
Whenever. the
Relative near
calendar is.
future.
Next meeting, okay. So does the council feel comfortable making a recommendation to the ZBA about the sign?
Well, and I guess my question is, I mean, if we have outstanding questions, I understand deferring it, but if we understand the site plan and we feel like we're comfortable with it, we could just do the whole thing too.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. I think we've seen the plans.
Yeah.
We've asked our questions. We should take action.
Is everybody comfortable with that? Okay, then I rechanged this topic. Let's go through the EAF questions then.
Pull 'em up. Alrighty. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with the adopted land use plan or zoning regulation?
Well,
Well, it's kind of interesting, right? I mean,
because it has the
it
zone.
needs a variance
Yeah.
for the sign, but in general,
No.
no.
Yeah, we can put.
I would just
you know,
put the comment that it needs a variance for the sign only.
Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land?
Yes.
Do you want to make notes on that?
Let's get through the rest of the questions and we'll probably come back to that for.
Okay. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community?
No, it's the keyword there is impair.
Yeah.
So it in my opinion, does not.
Yeah, and I know we talked about it at the last meeting. We didn't really talk about it too much, but I mean, they're incorporating the LOMO all around. They're going to make that the seed is going to be the native wild mixes, and then all the extra trees that they're going to be planting.
Mhm.
Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area? That
No.
one's always a no. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway?
It shouldn't. Right? I mean, we're not expecting any additional traffic with this. Well,
On that question, though, are people gonna be walking from that previous project that you had to this site? It would only be by car.
go ahead, Laura.
I couldn't hear his question.
You can,
Oh, it was just a comment. Sorry.
Yeah, it was a question, and Daniel asked if people were going to be walking between buildings.
Yeah, the previous project we looked at with Vernova where they had the outdoor
Yes.
eating area and the reception area. I was wondering if people would be walking back and forth between that and this new,
Welcome
sculpture.
Center.
And the client answered no
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a long walk.
with a head nod from the audience.
Yeah. Okay.
For all those.
Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy, or does it fail to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities?
It's my impression that we're trying to make this as energy efficient as possible. So
There will be an increase, but it
yeah,
has,
it's mitigated by the actions of the client.
And I think we should also add that we asked for solar and they're providing it on the roof, so that's a plus. 7, will the proposed action impact existing public-private water supplies or wastewater treatment utilities?
No,
No, yeah, it's a very small building. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources?
no,
no. So
Will
if
the
we go
proposed
back
action
to,
result in an adverse change to natural resources?
no,
no.
Yeah, and the one thing that I would note here is because this is really close to my house, the most of the vegetation that's being cleared is probably an invasive species. It looks to me like it's buckthorn.
hmm
So I mean, maybe it'll actually help because they're going to take some of the invasive species down and then put that native seed and then plant native trees. So that's a good
Yeah.
thing.
So Laura, let's go back to number 4 now.
Oh, wait, did we finish?
No.
Oh, I can't read it from here.
We have two.
Oh, go
Yeah, we have
ahead,
two
Laura.
more. Yeah. Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems?
No,
No,
And will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health?
no,
no.
Okay. So
Nope.
back to 2.
If
Well,
we go
it-
back to 4,
No, 2.
2, I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land?
Yeah, it certainly will, but I think the way I would look at this is that the impacts have been largely mitigated by the tree planting, the commitment from the applicant to use natural plant species. It's integrated, the design is integrated into the landscape, so any impact like that would be minimal. And I think that the sign itself, it's not front lit. The lighting will give it a low profile, and there's an opportunity to change the intensity of light if need be, if it's a problem. So, does anybody else have any other comments that they would like to put in there?
Yeah, just if I can jump in for a second. So this, Laura, this is part of the IR zoning district.
It's part of the. It's Is it IR?
Yeah, industrial research.
Right. Okay. No, and I just
Yeah,
if it is,
research
and
and
I-
development.
yeah, if it is, and I think it is, I just want to say, that when we talk about character of a community, and right now, obviously, Balltown Road is dark, and it's field oriented, but this is a research facility, and in our town plan, we have a desire to promote the research, experimental, and testing laboratories, in the community. And while of course we need to be vigilant on buildings and lighting and resources that could take away from our environment, I also think we have a character of community around research that I feel this project fits nicely into, and actually is remarkably subtle given what it could have been. So I just want to state that.
Does anybody else have anything else they want to add?
I'll just add that I agree with Chuck's comments very much, that particularly in a research and a technology type company, your facility is very much a part of your selling tool when you're bringing customers to your facility. And it does appear to be done in a very tasteful, well-designed way, but bringing people to your facility so they can see what you do is extremely important, and everywhere they look is part of the message that you're sending, right down to every employee they speak with and every part of the building they come in contact with. So I agree with what Chuck said.
Okay. Are we ready to take a vote on the motion? Or,
yes, Ready to take a vote?
We need to make the
Well-
motion.
Yeah.
Let's take the motion. Let's make the motion.
Motion to take a vote on this?
No, motion, either
motion.
positive or negative deck.
Right.
Motion for a negative declaration.
Okay. Does somebody else want to second it?
I'll second that.
Okay, Portia seconded, Dan made it. Okay, all in favor of giving the applicant a negative declaration with the comments that we just made? Aye.
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 Okay, carried unanimously. Thank you. Okay. Moving along, let's go to the next EAF.
36 or 38.
I'm sorry?
She just was asking what page. It's like 38 in
Oh,
the
yeah,
packet.
It's
38.
It's right down the street. It's EAF 2026
Oh, yeah.
03, 2750 Balltown Road, Memento site. There's an application to make some modifications to their R&D center. It looks like there's going to be some demolition and then an addition of a research area that is sort of, looks like it's sandwiched between two buildings.
Yeah.
And do we have an applicant here that would like to discuss the project?
Yes, good evening.
Just
Can you
state
hear
your
me okay?
name and for the record, and then the floor is yours.
Certainly. Karen Majanowski from Bowler Engineering. I'm also joined here remotely with Shin Yao and Eric from SGA. They're the architects for the project. And we also have Chris from Momentive. On behalf of Bowler, we handle the civil site side of things. I believe this is the first time this council is seeing this. We did introduce the site plan review to the planning board on Monday this week and had previously gotten town approvals for the demolition scope of the project. Just for background, in case no one's aware, Momentive is currently in and operating out of this facility that was formerly SI Group. It's a great reuse of the property, reusing buildings and a site that's already there. And with working within the current facilities, it's been successful for them and for the town. And again, a great reuse for this. As part of the project overall, if you want to flip to the next slide, an overview of the property itself on Balltown Road. As you can see, it's quite large. Everything that we're going to be doing is within the area that's already developed. So there'll be no disturbance outside of that general area of the site. And if you want to flip to the next slide, I think we skipped a couple, maybe, or they got out of order. Oh, here we go. So this here shows the existing buildings and parking lot areas. So what you see outlined in yellow, we call the west and east wings respectively. Those are going to remain the building structures themselves and be renovated. And then the three building sections outlined in red are the buildings that were proposed and approved to be demolished. That work has not occurred yet, but is hopefully planned for this year. So those building areas in red that are going to be demolished total about 20,700 square feet. And we're looking to just propose a single building, shown there on that slide, of about 14,500 square feet, connecting the east and west wings, as you can see. So again, overall, just putting a new building in, that will be more efficient, both for the business and from an energy standpoint. And then overall results in less impervious area and more grass area, which we see as a benefit here. There'll be some minor parking lot adjustments and restriping for ADA off the north end of the west wing, but otherwise this facility and location is working well for them. And again, no disturbance outside of that area that's already developed. If we want to flip to the next slide. And this just shows in the built condition. You can really see when those buildings are gone. Oop, there we go. How much additional green grass area there is to the north and south of the new building that will connect the existing east and west wings.
Yes, so the building is planned, obviously new, and obviously a lab. A lab has a specific amount of power and certainly airflow for the fume hoods in the building. And so in terms of the energy efficient recovery systems, the new energy efficient exterior walls that we're building on the new addition, as well as replacing one wall on one of the existing buildings, improved lighting efficiency, high efficiency boilers, we are calculating a 30.9% reduction in energy use from the baseline code. So here you can see the exterior envelope. There are windows into all the new lab spaces, but they're minimized. Obviously, the function of the lab is on the interior, and I would just restate the comment that was made previously that for R&D, customers are brought to the site and they are brought into the labs, and obviously the presentation of the building as the visitors arrive and enter the building, and we've taken care also to improve the employee sequence from the rear of the building so that they do have a nicer and improved experience in terms of entering for both the administrative people and the lab people. And I would say, without having it on the, I don't know if we have it on the last slide, but we do. So this is the proposed new facility. And if you were to jump back quickly to the first slide, you would see the existing condition. And hopefully you can't really find the difference between the two because we're removing more than we're putting back, and we have a little less rooftop equipment. And so basically the roof line is the same or minimized. Thank you.
One of the other things that came up at the planning board meeting on Monday was board members asked about the function of the building. And this is exclusively an R&D center. There's no manufacturing of anything. There's no odors or anything being discharged. So I just wanted to mention that because it did come up with the planning
Yeah,
board.
that was a question I was going to ask. So the effluents, particularly into the air, there are no effluents into the air, or how do they compare to previous discharges?
So there are fume hoods. There are fume hoods to control chemical reactions within that, but those exhaust go through a system, first through a heat exchanger to extract the heat that we can save and salvage for reheating air that's going back into the building. And then there are high velocity fans that both have filters on them to absorb and collect those, and also the fans are made to distribute the air and disperse the air as it goes through. And so typically on lab type buildings, those fans provide cleaner air discharge back to the environment in a way that's not just letting it sort of billow out, but break it up back into the atmosphere.
Mm.
And those fans also have some sound absorbing quality to the construction of the way the fans are designed.
Mhm. So any VOCs that were potentially generated are going to be filtered out of the air? Is that the plan?
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was going to say, the improvement to the existing facility in terms of the code is meeting the energy requirements. It's also meeting a higher level of standards of safety for all the occupants in the building. And obviously, if they're doing things inside the building and putting air outside the building, those employees are susceptible to that air as well. So that air just needs to be just as cleaner going out of the building.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just have a question, Eric. So I know you're taking out 2 buildings, replacing it with one. Is the one building going to consume more energy than the 2 previous ones you're taking out, less, or pretty much the same?
I would have to say the same or less. The not quite understanding what we didn't go and survey the demo for the equipment that was in there. We surveyed it for the space and the type of wall construction that existed at the time it was built. But there were fans on 2 of those center wings, so there were operations within those buildings which would have been far less energy efficient at the time that they were built than they were today, both for the construction of the equipment, but also the codes that are governing what that equipment needs to meet.
So the new building, will it require an upgrade or more an updated energy plant?
We are working within the existing services provided to the building.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any further questions for the applicant at this time?
Yeah, I have one more if no one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm not there.
Go for it.
Yeah, thanks. So the comment was made kind of at the very beginning that more grass, and this facility is known for its lawns. The Conservation Advisory Council, we look at lawns as not necessarily a positive thing for the community overall, given the amount of energy it takes to keep a lawn, as opposed to natural or native species and more water friendly and environmentally friendly type environments. So, and I noticed, at least in the renderings, and I know they're only renderings, when you took the 2 buildings down and you replaced it with 1, you highlighted the growth in grass. And I guess as what we would be concerned about, and I can't speak for everyone, but is that more grass isn't necessarily good. What I see here are no trees, nothing other than grass. And it seems to me that would be an added burden to the environment when there's more grass there. There's more pesticides, more maintenance, more, I'm sure it's lawn equipment, et cetera, et cetera. So I would encourage any type of more environmentally friendly environmental attributes for that area if possible.
I don't think we're committing to anything within this project, but we certainly have discussed that and thought about that along with branding and the sense of place and space. This project has been going on for a long time in terms of a couple attempts to get it to meet budget and to get to the right program. And so trying to stick within our bounds and not overreach. I think this is what we're presenting at the moment. And certainly this is a world headquarters for Momentive. And they would like it to present itself to the visitors and make it as appealing, because they do want to attract and maintain the best talent. And so they will consider that, but it's not part of the project just because of the budget and where we are at this point. And branding studies or thoughts are starting at this point, not part of this project that we're presenting at the moment, but there is a thought about the site. So maybe there is something with that.
Yeah, just from a broader issue, and it's not necessarily related to this project, but we have worked with other large landowners and, for example, GE, and they've adopted more of a low mow area, which can work very well in some situations. And that does reduce the mowing costs to keep it mowed. It also increases the habitat and wildlife. For their organization has worked well. I just ask you to, when you think about your branding, you might want to consider it. You would be part of a growing movement in this particular area where, people are finding that perhaps maybe a manicured lawn is not preferable to a low mow area. And again, that's an internal discussion that your organization will have to have, but that goes a long way to offsetting some of the environmental impacts, and it looks like you guys have done an energy study and everything, and it looks like, you're concerned about that. So it's just a suggestion at this stage.
Appreciate it.
So I just, hi, my name's Ellen. I just have I just had one, I concur with everything they say. I mean, you have a gorgeous, stunning driveway that would look fantastic with trees that change color in the fall or in the spring. But that's neither here nor there. But you do have a lot of, I saw the energy, but I didn't see like any solar or even just in your back area where you have all that open space to try to take away, to try to, mitigate some of your energy needs by using solar of any sort. Was that considered at all or?
Not as part of this project. This is Chris Bahida from Momentive. We really haven't looked at solar. We've looked at other opportunities, like, geothermal and stuff. They were just cost prohibitive. Momentive has looked, I haven't, so I'm gonna check my notes here. We have looked at with solar providers to try to find a business viable approach to adding solar. So far, they haven't worked out, but we will likely look at that again. We were partnering with a solar, I guess they call them a solar broker, looked at multiple firms, and we just couldn't work out anything that made business sense yet. So it has been investigated. It's just the cost benefit didn't work out.
Okay.
Okay, does anybody have any further questions? This is the first time we're seeing your proposal, and I think what we would like to do is sort of review all these notes some more, think about it, talk about it a little more before we take action.
I have a few
Yeah, go ahead.
more questions. Since your project involved related site work off-street parking, so were the new addition and the parking, so how do you manage the R&D related runoff? And then your stormwater drainage, will those be affected?
They will not. So the existing facility that's been designed and is in place is sufficient for this. We're disturbing under an acre. Again, we're reducing impervious. So everything that's in place has been designed to handle more than what we'll have with this project. And as I mentioned, all the parking areas will remain as is. There's no expansion of that proposed.
And on the planning department side, this is going down the normal path of we're hiring a TDE to look at their stormwater design, and that will all be reviewed.
Yep.
So does your new office or the R&D program imply an increase in your employee headcount? And would that impact the traffic or noise level?
It shouldn't impact the traffic level. We're moving from the water for our current Waterford R&D facility. We're going to move 55 people to the Niskuna site. The Niskuna labs right now are not occupied. They're empty. It's purely, headquarters teams. It'll be a move of 55 people, but that will bring the total head count there to roughly within 5 people, I think, of what was working there at SI Group, probably pre-pandemic SI Group.
Okay, do we have any further questions to the applicant at this time?
Will the space change any environmental profile or risks? Will there be any R&D related chemicals?
They are chemical laboratories, yes. Just like SI Group, different chemistries. We manufacture silicones and silanes. So in our R&D building, we would be making silicone-based or silane-based, lab scale reactions and compounds. But all the safety and environmental controls are designed into the laboratory design.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, are we good?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Okay,
Could we
thanks.
ask,
Yeah, go ahead.
does the council, it sounds like you might not make a determination this evening, which we were hopeful for. Does the council need anything from us, or do you just need more time? Because this is the
We need
first
time to
time
look at it,
we've seen
but I would also like to get the engineer's study for the water and sewer as well.
From us or from the outside engineer?
Us. It would be, however it gets to us, yeah. I mean, you can supply it to us and the engineer will check it.
Okay.
Are you clear, Karen, as to what we need to provide? Because I'm not following completely though.
Yeah, so I think what he's asking is, the town's hiring the town designated engineer to look at the drawings. And they like to see the sign off on the stormwater and the engineering and just make sure everything's okay.
Okay.
Which you guys probably wouldn't need to attend any more meetings. It's just a follow up from this meeting. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So
Okay, does anybody need to stretch their legs for 2 seconds?
no, but
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next EAF is 46 Commerce Park. It's a special use permit for a daycare. Where do you want to put that up? I'm going to the project.
It's page starts on page
69, okay.
Oops. 71.
What is it, 71?
Yeah. The applicant is here online too. She's
Okay.
here.
Hi,
Hi, why don't you introduce yourself and you can tell us about your project?
sure. So my name is Brooks Berrigan. This is a project. It's relocating an existing daycare in Niskuna from a 1950s building. There was an old town hall located in the congested Balltown Road, Van Antwerp corridor, and we'll be building a new energy efficient building within the Niskuna Commerce Park. So it's a 5-acre parcel that we will be developing 2 acres on.
Whoops.
Okay. And looking at the plan here, you're building the building here, and what type of plans do you have for the site? Is it going to include playgrounds or?
Yep. We don't have the fenced in area there shows you the proposed
says
playground area.
Okay. Yep.
So there's a lot of green space in this land that they don't have currently. So
So you might see it from the packet. There's actually kind of 3 branches to this project. The first one is subdividing that lot down to a smaller lot,
Mhm.
which is where the new building would be built. So then there's a site plan application to actually build the new building. And then for a daycare center in this zoning district, a special use permit is required.
Okay.
So those
Yeah, I
are the
figured-
3 branches.
I was looking for the special use permit, yeah. And how many students will you have or children?
We have it spaced right now for 62.
52?
62,
62, okay.
I think she said.
What was the previous use of this place?
This
new.
land,
Vacant land.
Oh, vacant land?
the land is located within the Niskuna Commerce Park, so there is some warehouses, one across the street and one adjacent.
Yeah, because you are building a daycare, so would there be any environmental hazard to the kids, to the children? Would there be any industrial, from the previous, like soil or groundwater contamination? Would that require some assessment?
I'm not sure where exactly where this is.
Yeah,
When you-
I'll put it up on the I'm gonna pull it up on Google Earth.
Yeah.
Brooke, I think Joy's asking you if you did an environmental one assessment just to make sure that the ground is safe to be building on.
For the soil, from
Yeah, the soil.
the research that we've done, it was just vacant land, just green space. It wasn't a building that we demoed and then we're rebuilding on it. It was just always green space. That there's the parcel next to it is another, collectively, it's like 110 acres that Gillespie owns. And so this is just one of the lots, and it's all just green space that goes from this all the way past E1 and almost to Aqueduct Road. Yeah, that's a good way to visualize it.
And right.
So
here
we're the
mentioned,
red pin here.
Light industrial, right zone.
Yes, I believe so. It's an industrial park, but there's really only one or two spots that are occupied right now.
Yeah, I
So-
don't know this area very well, but it's right next to Trelleborg Sealing Solutions, which is a polymer.
Yeah,
software.
Trelleborg's here. hmm
Oh,
And then the Army Reserve Center's here.
okay.
And then they're talking about this vacant land here. This is what
Where is it, Laura?
looks like for a little bit.
Oh, I thought she meant-
Yeah, the red pin is where it is.
It's on the
I'll
right
get
as
a
you're
little
coming
bit.
down that.
Oh, okay, it's in that
Road.
field there, yeah.
So that's Trelleborg way down there. That's Trelleborg. This is like an HVAC system place. And then this is the land they're talking about right here. You guys might recognize it better if I move down here. This is, I mean, you probably have driven past the Army Reserve Center. Like, you
Yeah.
probably know this. There's the Army Reserve Center.
Where in relation to there's apartments, right? That'll help orient people.
Yeah, they're farther, the apartments are farther down hillside. So,
Because it's
Yeah.
Iroquois Village is down this way. Oops.
It's down that way, yeah.
And Hillcrest Village is on the other side.
On the other side, yeah.
Hillcrest Village is past Iroquois Village. So Hillcrest Village is down here. So here's Providence, and you're coming down hillside. Then you can go down the Iroquois Village apartments here. And then this is Commerce Park Drive.
Mhm.
Brooke, you mentioned that there's an existing daycare site near Balltown and VA. I think I know the one you're talking about. Is there any consideration of just building a new building there? Because one of the things I look at as part of the council is preserving the amount of wild space we have now, and this would contribute towards losing wild space and then leaving a vacant building. I'm just curious if that was considered.
We actually went through at least 7 different sites around Niskuna. Ideally, it would be nice to keep the location where it currently is, but it's a landlord situation where, you know, the lease is up and he doesn't want to renew. So we had to pivot and find a different location.
Okay, fair
It
enough.
was available. Inventory is low.
Thank you.
So there's multiple things that have to happen here. Laura, do we need to make a determination prior to support the subdivision? Or is this not?
Yeah, I mean, they're all of the all three of the steps can be done concurrently. So, I mean, in my mind, the subdivision is very small part
Okay.
of it. It's just, right now, I think, what is the total acres together? It's like 5 acres.
Mm-hmm.
So, this site was actually approved by the planning board and had a recommendation. I think that everything was okay by the Conservation Advisory Council 7 or 8 years ago. It was going to be a industrial site for Transtech,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't. Transtech ended up not moving here. So Transtech needed a bigger parcel. Transtech needed that 5-acre parcel. These
Yeah.
guys only need 2 acres, and so they'd leave 3 acres remaining for another office technology, light industrial type of use. So the subdivision, in my mind, is kind of the smallest thing, and then site plan and special use permit pretty much always go together. So my recommendation would be that you sort of take the whole project together when you're making your determinations.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand what you said, Laura. Could you speak?
Oh, in this case, I wouldn't like do a seeker recommendation on each action because they're all tied to each other. I would do a recommendation on all the actions together.
Okay.
And Laura, just so people know, you might want to mention the kind of prerequisite to the construction of this with the existing stormwater pond
Yeah.
that's in desperate need of attention, that would be getting attention.
Yeah, so let me go back to my aerial. Right next door to this property is a large stormwater detention pond that is meant to serve the entire, this first part of the Commerce Park Industrial Park. And as part of this project, the owner, which is the Gillespie Group, they're actually the owners of the casino too. They will be rehabbing that park. It's not really park. They'll be rehabbing the stormwater pond here so that it'll be able to take care of this development as well as any other future development. So can you see my screen? It's this pond right here.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's terribly overgrown. You might not even notice that it's a stormwater pond when you drive down there, and it's been in need of repair, and that has to be repaired before this project could be constructed.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's going on in parallel to this project.
Clark,
It's actually in contingent of us moving forward is them fixing that. So it will be done before we start building.
Yeah. And I see you have 23 spaces that are banked.
16.
And that's mostly just for events because the goal on this is just to keep the traffic flowing and at the drop off. So we've given more than will be used on a daily basis, but we're just sizing accordingly.
Is that banked that it's grassed, or is that banked with some surface, do you anticipate?
No.
What I'm confused about is,
I believe-
going to utilize these spaces.
No, I believe it's just banked in that could be, there's adequate room for parking spaces there if they were
Okay.
needed down the road.
Okay, I
yeah.
was.
It's not grass tech pavers or
Yep,
anything like that.
okay.
Laura or Clark, could one of you kind of summarize when you said we should make a recommendation on it as a whole? Like, what are the high level elements of the recommendation we're considering here?
Oops, wait a minute. Oh, I thought I was muted. Can you say your question again?
Yeah. Can you summarize or just give like high level bullets of the elements of the recommendation? You said don't go through each one, consider them all together because they're linked. I'm just curious if you can just like number one would be
Oh, sure.
split the lot. Number two, whatever it is.
Yeah. So This application is a minor subdivision application and a site plan application and a special use permit. The highest authority on that combination of actions is the town board, because the town board grants the special use permit. So normally you would do your recommendation to the town board on the project as a whole, and then your recommendation also goes to the planning board, so that the planning board can use it for subdivision and site plan. You do occasionally, which I think was what Dart was asking, reserve one of those actions, which you actually did on 3900 State Street, which is an item later tonight. You only made a recommendation to the town board on the special use permit, and you withheld your recommendation to the planning board on the site plan application. In that instance, though, I think it was because there were still some unresolved items that you weren't sure were going to happen between the special use permit and the site plan. This project is significantly less complex than 3900 State Street. So my recommendation would be to just work through all of the environmental impact items that you're concerned about, knowing that the project involves the subdivision of land, a site plan review, and a special use permit. But I mean, really what you're focusing in on here is most likely, in my opinion, is what's happening with the site plan. Yes, it does need, I mean, in the long term, they just don't need 5 acres. You could put the building, you know, in this little corner and not subdivide and just have it on a giant 5-acre parcel. But it just makes sense for them to only have 2 acres because they're little, they're not a trans tech. So really what you're looking at is, okay, how are the cars coming in? What's the traffic flow? You know, are you buffering, you know, the neighbors? What's the drainage going to be? Well, you know, that just your normal things that you look at generally. It's just, does that make sense?
Yes.
And if you look at them, if you look at them like Laura was saying, the subdivision, they're subdividing that 5-acre lot into 2 code compliant lots. So there's no variances that are required on that second lot they're creating. They're making sure that that's code compliant. And then if you go to the next layer of the site plan application for the building, again, it meets all the setbacks, it meets the parking requirements, it's got the direction of flow for traffic. So the planning board will be looking into those closely too, but they also have a very compliant site plan design. And that, so we're saying, look at those all together as a package.
So, so for me, I just want to thank our World Montessori. They have been in our community for a really long time. I sent my children to our World Montessori,
So did I.
and yeah, and so did Portia. So I would hate to lose them in our community because of the fantastic learning method. And I'm sad that this is where they have to go because of some of the surrounding businesses. I don't think are fantastic, but I would say that any variance, any land division, you know, we should work to keep them in our community. And I hope that they have some nice, really creative ways to you know, update their this property and make it home. And hopefully they can put up lots of trees and lots of natural places for the for young people to explore and learn.
I feel very similarly and would say that, you know, we have that greatest hits of things we recommend. If we can include some of those things, I feel supportive of this.
Do we have water management problems other than this one pond?
I don't believe so. Laura may know more than me, but I don't think
Yeah,
so.
the stormwater, generally speaking, is fine in that area. Where there is an issue is the outfall of the pond. So by rehabbing the pond, that should be fixed. But the outfall of the pond does kind of drain over to Iroquois Village. So, but the rest of the site, it's the entrance to the old tank track that when they were building and testing tanks for World War II. So
Mhm.
I don't know that this particular land was part of the tank track. You could look at an old aerial, but generally speaking, it's very flat. And yeah, it doesn't have a lot of drainage issues. Chuck, do you have a question?
Yeah, thank you. So I do concur with the kind of the spirit of this activity that we do need more childcare facilities. And what I'm concerned about is this area is dedicated and zoned as light industrial, and I'm not clear on how a childcare facility can be permitted in basically a light industrial park. So I don't know if that's, and to me, we talk about context of, or the character of a community. And I know this is a little bit backwards, but this specific part of our community is built for industry or light industry. I don't want to say that, Ford's going to build a plant here, but it is discordant with what's supposed to be in this area. And I find this problematic. And it also makes me wonder if a light industrial outfit does want to relocate there, and it has an impact on the environment there. And we've allowed a childcare facility to be dropped right in the middle of an industrial park. So I know we're here to talk about, the environmental impact and whatnot, but I'm really concerned here that this is happening. And I can't believe in Niskayuna I know we're tight for space, but putting childcare facilities in industrial centers just isn't sinking in with me right now. So I guess I just need to learn more about how this was permitted in the first place, and what is the definition of a light industrial park, and is childcare light industrial?
Those are really fair questions. It is actually zoned office technology and light
Okay.
industrial. And so I'll just share the zoning quickly so you can get a sense. It's considered for permitted principal uses. You can have light in manufacturing and research. You can also just have office buildings, general business and professional use. So actually it was also considered to be public service facilities like town offices, libraries, and post offices was considered for this zoning area. And then you've got medical offices, educational facilities, childcare facilities, and animal hospitals are all allowed. So it's not the same type. It's not a general industrial zoning. It's meant to be like a mix of very like office buildings, medical buildings. Trelleborg, I'm not exactly sure what they meant. I think they do manufacture something in there, but it's a very quiet, very well-maintained facility. You could put a medical office building right next to that building and they would be very harmonious. It's meant to be, hopefully you can see it in there. It's meant to have a whole mixture of stuff. It's not your general office, general industrial
Thank you.
park.
Yeah, that answered my question, Laura. It's literally right there. So, okay. Well, thank you. Yeah.
I like that you raised it, Chuck, and I understand what you're asking. I would also add that beyond the fact that it's permitted based on what it's classified as, there is precedent for having childcare in business parks and with other office buildings and even I've seen it where it's part of like if there's a large plant, they have a childcare facility within. So I don't think it's totally out of bounds, but I like the question.
Well, and I no doubt it will add to the value of if it is since I've now learned it's basically an office park as opposed to a light industrial center. It will hopefully add value to the land, because who doesn't want to have childcare facility next door to their office, right? Especially as going back to the office seems to be the trend.
Yeah, and it never came to you guys, but a medical office building did look at the site. it's possible that locating a standalone daycare may invite something like a medical office to go next door or something that's more along those lines too.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the kind of, we're not going to get, industrial and light industrial seems to also not want to land here given all the other options in the capital region. So, but I do believe that the professions have a great reason to land here. And so anyway, I just wanted to put it into context and we have, so thank you.
So Laura, has the planning board looked at this project yet?
No, but they do kind of need an accelerated timeline because of their lease expiring. So we brought them to you guys first, and planning board will look at it here on Monday.
Okay. And what type of accelerated timeline? When does the lease end?
It ends August 31st of 2026, so they're hoping to be open by September 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good Lord. That's ambitious.
So we don't really have a site plan to make a recommendation on.
Yeah,
That's
you don't
why-
need to make one yet. This is your preliminary meeting. I'm just putting it on all of the agendas so that you guys are aware, so that if it goes farther along, you'll be ready.
Yeah, excuse me. Excuse me. Yeah, that's fine. I wanted to make sure that it seems like there's a very positive project. I just wanted to make sure if there was something that needed to be done to help facilitate this, that's within our power now, we could do that. Otherwise, we'll just wait.
Well, when you say you don't have a site plan, I mean, there's, what else?
Well, I would at least want the planning board to look at it to see if they have changes they want to make, because if we went and made a recommendation.
Oh, okay.
And the
So,
planning board went in and made a change, we're going to come back here and we're going to
I
do it
got it.
again.
I got
It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I would give it at least one more meeting. The planning board will have been able to look at it a
Okay.
couple of times by your next meeting.
Okay. Any other questions we have for Brooke?
No.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Brooke.
Thank you.
Okay. Next EAF is Niskayuna Harbors, and that's EAF 2025-01, 2757 Aqueduct Road, Niskayuna. And this is we've seen this project a couple times prior. We had some comments about the projects. One being the water management proposal, and there were some other things the architectural diversity of the homes and the overall density. So is the applicant here?
I know they wanted to come. Let me just check my email. I wonder if he had problems finding on. He told me he was going to come tonight.
So, excuse me. As far as this particular project, was there something that we wanted to further discuss on this? Or are comments still valid or concerns?
So, I mean, when I was, trying to, look at the changes that were made, some of the things that we had asked for, which was, access to the bike path, the bike path, I think, and then to the water, and, just they're very all the units are very dense. It's very tight. It seems like a lot of units for the space in comparison to the aesthetics that we have, next door. And I mean, that was my first initiative or first initial reaction.
One of the things Ellen, Laura, and I are in a good position to do is always connect what's been talked about at the planning board meetings. And yeah, Laura's pulling it up. We had a couple workshops with the planning board project leads for this project and the applicant and their engineer. And we asked them for similar reference developments locally that had similar spacing between units, just so the planning board or anyone who wanted to could go visit them. So they provided us this spreadsheet that Laura's got here, just as factual information. I haven't visited any of those yet, but
Okay.
just to help people get a feel for what the
Yeah.
space is like.
Could you make that list available for the CAC members?
It's in the packet. It's
Yeah.
page 121.
Sorry.
It's
That's
okay.
okay.
It's just the packet. It was so big and so
was so
dense,
big.
and there
I
was
know,
just so
It's
much
so many planning
information
projects came at once. I
to
know.
try to process. It was I felt overwhelmed, to be quite honest. And I was struggling to see, where I mean, there's so much wetland and not which is what we had brought up before. So I kept trying to go back between our comments and what had been changed, but I couldn't see I couldn't remember what they looked like before. So I can honestly say that I just it was frustrating.
Yeah, it was a huge packet. And like every single page was like relevant. They haven't changed it a whole lot. I would say probably the big change was when we were looking at the stormwater detention ponds within the wetlands. I mean, we had concerns about them being placed inside the wetlands and how you would access them and how that would all work. So they did more work on that here. I do think I thought I can see if I can have them come to the next meeting so they can
Yeah.
kind of go through it with you. But they added these roads and stuff so you can see how they would get to the stormwater ponds.
Yeah,
They did color code this so you can see like the blue is what would be owned by like the homeowners association. And then the green would be deeded to the town, so public, and then the red would be the public trails. So they did make a public trail that would go over to the River's Ledge public trail system. So you'd be able to walk from River's Ledge, like up just a little bit and then over and then back down to the river. They did add the kayak launch. Oh, I thought you guys had seen the kayak launch before. And they do have like these internal trails that go along the pond that's there. But I know your packet was huge. They are coming back and the planning board is calling for a public hearing, but I think we could definitely invite them to come talk to you about it.
Yeah,
next
Laura,
time.
specifically with the concentration of retention ponds integrated into the wetlands, I mean, there's a couple concerns that I think we have to sort of look at. One is that the retention ponds, if they're functioning properly, will concentrate fertilizers, pesticides, chemicals, and everything, which is their function, that's fine. But we do have situations where we have large amounts of rain, and there's a potential for those chemicals concentrated in that area will be deposited within a wetland in a very small space. Likewise, I'm kind of concerned about how the hydrology of the wetlands could be changed again because you're dumping the entire site water, which is a lot. It's the roofs, it's the roads into that small area. And I am just concerned again that you're going to get a lot of phosphates in there or phosphorus from from fertilizer and stuff like that, and you're going to end up, really degrading that particular area. What I'd like to see is I'd like to see the pond spread out across the site or discharged in different areas. It just seems like you're taking the entire water there on that site and dumping it within a very small area. If they could address that, that would be helpful. I know the Army Corps of Engineers does have concerns at times with retention ponds being integrated into wetland areas. That's sort of what I see here.
Yeah, and I think the applicant can probably better speak to all those things. I know we have talked to them about it. We talked to them about maybe moving the retention ponds. They would have to lose buildings, which is why they're trying really hard to fit the retention ponds in the wetlands. They can, hopefully they could bring their engineer to talk to you about it. It's very unusual. We don't see it a lot. So, yeah, I'm losing my voice.
Does anybody have any other questions?
Well, I mean, they spoke about, like phase 1 and phase 2 of this and how this was going to, be done over, a long period of time. And I guess I just, I see phase 2. So does that mean everything else is phase 1? Or am I not seeing phase 1 lit up like phase 2 is? I apologize.
I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but I think the last time this came up at the planning board meeting, in general, phase 1 is what Laura is showing, the townhomes along Aqueduct Road. And then phase 2 would be basically the condos to the left as you come down the main road, the condo buildings, the 4-unit condo buildings to the left, I believe are the bulk of phase 2. And then phase 3 would be things more to the right.
Yeah.
In general.
That's exactly right, Claire.
Yeah, that's rough. That's it, at least roughly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so those, all those those 5, 4-unit townhouses that are there, off of, Aqueduct Road, they all are, do we know what they look like? Do we have, is the parking behind them, in front of them? Is it?
I believe those have parking
It looks-
included in them. One of the things that's been recommended by the Architectural Review Board is renderings of the buildings, and
Okay.
similar to what we did for Rivers Ledge Senior Center, if you
Yeah.
remember that, some types of those. And actually, one of the members of the ARB provided us with some renderings of a similar project they worked on that would kind of also show you the spacing of the buildings a little bit. So that's a recommendation that's going to the planning board.
And I know the applicant originally said they didn't want to do renderings because they didn't want to get into the minutia, but I do feel like bulk kind of like the Architectural Review Board had their Clark, where it was sort of a bulk scale rendering, is super helpful.
Yeah, plus the fact too that this is a large development in the town and it's in a high value spot
I couldn't see it.
in the
Yeah.
town. So
Sorry.
I think elevations of
said
the
something.
street is not a big ask here. Also, Laura, are we still talking about affordable housing? And if we are, do we know what the price point is?
Yeah, so in all the research that I was doing, for the comprehensive plan,
Yep.
based on the income level that we have in the town of Niskuna, affordable housing, like as defined by the national sort of standards of affordable housing, but then using the local data,
Yep.
would be houses that were in the range of $200,000 to $300,000. You physically cannot build a new building for that amount of money. So do they meet the definition of affordable housing? No, they will not. But a lot of new housing is in, I mean, like Joel's townhomes, for example, they were over $650,000.
Mhm.
Their price point, I think, is they're intending to be lower than that. Like they're trying to be as low as they can. But the affordable housing that we have in Niskuna, just I think by the way that the world works now, is automatically already built. You would have to have subsidies from the town or from the federal government to actually get these things built and sold at $200,000 to $300,000. You're probably looking more at like $350,000, $400,000, $500,000. They can't commit to a price point because so much is up in the air with, tariffs and all the things. Like when COVID happened, the cost of wood went up. So they really won't commit to a price point, but they will commit, based on the density to be able to provide these at market at a cheaper rate than we have been seeing. So Amador Homes, those things are like 750,000 to $1 million. These guys, they're really trying, I think, to come in at that lower end, like that $500,000, like around there, lower end. Which sounds crazy to say, but that really is the way that the housing market is right now.
No, I understand. I mean, Joel's properties are duplexes. He has 8 units in a building, so I would imagine he's going to be able to do better than Joel did.
One of the,
The reason why I raise this is part of the reason why the density is so large here or so dense, is because the applicant came to us and said that they wanted to build affordable housing, which is great. But I want to make sure that we don't end up with a highly developed site and the housing is not affordable.
that's definitely been a key topic of this project. But in fairness too, I think it's always been presented as affordable relative to Niskayuna, not by the definition of,
Okay,
You know,
I just want to make
before-
that
yeah,
clear because it's been presented as affordable housing at one point.
right.
And it doesn't meet that goal.
And that means different things to different people. And I think as Laura mentioned that,
Yeah.
back when Mike Scrubby Tennis kind of gave us all a presentation on that, that's very difficult to do without a subsidy
Yep.
to do that.
And that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I'm just, I just want to make sure that we on the board are clear about
Right, right.
what we're really talking about.
Mhm.
Because it does have different meanings.
I think one of the things that could help, at least as a rough barometer, is the fact that we do have those examples of other developments with similar spacing between the units. You would think with similar density, the price points of those units may somewhat reflect what this might be relative from a pricing standpoint, because that has definitely been a discussion topic a lot with the planning board too, realizing that because there was a attempt to make these more affordable than let's say Kelt's Farm or something, that the developer is saying to achieve that, you have to have a little more density. So, and we've always been trying to connect, okay, if it's more dense, how do you know it's going to be more affordable?
Mhm.
So,
Yep.
The planning board is
and-
trying to do that as well.
And one other thing they said because Clark and I had long discussions with them about this, is like so there's the townhouses, and the townhouses are they're basically like they have lines going through them because it's a subdivision, so you own the home and you own your yard, right? But the lots are very tiny. And then you have condos where you basically only own the inside, and then the homeowners association owns the outside. And this is a mix of townhomes and condominiums, and the condominiums are 8 units and 4 units. So it is different. We don't actually have that many condos in Niskayuna, and they are a great way for people who want to stay and live in Niskayuna to downsize, because you still have that benefit of ownership, but you don't have to maintain your lawn. So that's attractive to a lot of people who are like downsizing. And then the townhomes are also very nice because typically the lawns are so tiny, it doesn't take a lot of maintenance, right? So they're two different types of housing that we don't have a lot of. So, you know, what we're trying to do is have them come in as more affordable. And then also a big goal is to increase the diversity of housing. River's Ledge, even though it actually looks like condos, is rental. So this would help people who were either taking a step towards home ownership or wanting to stay in Niskayuna still have that ownership. And he did say, and it makes perfect sense, like the 8-unit condos would be the most affordable because they're the most clustered. And you know, when you get in there, it's probably 4 units on one floor and 4 units on, you know, so 2 of your sides of your thing that you own isn't going to have windows. So the 8 units are going to be the most affordable. Then the 4-unit, probably the 4-unit town or the 4-unit condos will be the second most affordable. Those are very desirable to people because they have a lot of windows when they're 4 units instead of 8 units. And then the townhomes will be, I mean, they're trying to go for more affordable, but probably the most expensive price point there because the land is coming with the townhome, if that makes sense.
I have one more comment, which is aligned with what's already been said. Although there is some buffer, given the high density of 152 units, right? Once the developer built, then it might not be their concern, but then how can they prevent human intrusion into those protected wetland?
Yeah, I think I mean, they're so close to the wetlands. It's something that we struggle with all the time because Amador Homes' houses are built so close to the wetlands. Typically, the planning board or the CAC would require a split rail fence to ensure that they're not going into those wetlands as time goes by. It does put a little bit of a burden on the building department to be enforcing the wetland buffers and keeping them out. So we do definitely recommend fencing the wetlands at the end of the project to stop encroachment. When, like you say, when it's that dense, it's going to be easy for people to want to push farther out. There's no question.
So,
Okay. go ahead.
So I think just my last comment, you know, before we put maybe this one to bed here is that I just think that it's super dense. It's not balanced between the wetlands and just open space. And it seems like a lot of people, a lot of cars, a lot more traffic on Aqueduct Road. It's already a busy road. I'm interested to go and see something that is similar to this dense and compare it to then versus, you know, something that we, have in Niskayuna that is less dense. So.
Yeah, one of the projects on the comparison which I asked for is in Niskayuna. It's the Vly Point condominiums, which are really close to the old Martin Harding and Mazzati building that's now the church. So if you live near there, you can drive into the Vly Point condominiums. They and you can see them. They're here. They're 10 to 12 unit buildings. They're 30 feet from the road and 28 to 30 feet apart. So, I mean, that's similar to Niskayuna Harbor. So the closest one you could drive to is right off Route 7 there by the old Martin Harding and Mazzati building.
I mean, that just has a completely different aesthetic compared to the river.
Yeah,
I've driven in there to deliver so it's a completely different aesthetics, and it would not be something that I would want for the river, but time will tell.
What would you not want for the river?
The
Density.
the density that is over there to be here. It's not what it's a,
Another pollution I want to point out is the thermal pollution to the Mohawk River, because during the summer, the storm waters from developed areas is often significantly higher than the river temperature, and Mohawk River is sensitive to thermal pollution.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so clerk and I will add those comments to the next planning board agenda statement.
Anything else anybody want to add? Can we move on? I just want to keep us moving. Okay, the next EAF is EAF 2026-5, and this is 3900 State Street. It's the Matthews Kia dealership. We have looked at this plan several times. We made a recommendation on this plan. It was a while back, and now it's back for us to look at. Laura, could you highlight the major differences?
Yeah.
So
So
between the one we approved or the one we've looked at and the current proposal?
yeah, it's really similar. So one of the big concerns we had for the special use permit was the big Norway spruce, which
Mhm.
is here. It's delineated by the little star here.
Yep.
The pavement was right up to the edge, and so one of our big conditions was to protect and preserve that Norway spruce. We wanted the big buffer along the residential properties with the fencing, trees along South Amherst, and pushing the parking farther away from the residential homes on South Fagan, so allowing some double parking as you get closer to State Street. So the main difference between this site plan, which is what we did our comments on, and you can see there's double parking here and double parking here in the Norway spruce. The main difference is that they did protect the Norway spruce, and they so they bumped this out a little. So they bumped this out a little. They've made a much bigger buffer so that they're not encroaching on the root zone, or trying not to. The Norway spruce here, they're going to leave all the trees between the Norway spruce and the home. So that was a important, I think,
Mhm.
ask that they addressed. And the other thing that they did do was, I think for stormwater reasons or site plan reasons, they flip-flopped the double parking. So before it was along this entranceway here, they've added it to their parking lot. So they still have the double parking here, but they flip-flopped the double parking from here to there. The buffering remains. Oops, where are we? The landscaping plan. Oh, there must be one here, but they're gonna. Oh, here it is. Yep. So the buffering remains here. They're adding the buffering with a fence to the neighbors.
Mhm.
They got some buffering along here. They're adding the sidewalk along South Fagan and adding trees along the sidewalk on both sides of the sidewalk. They have 2 rows of plantings, which is CAC had asked for before, to maybe help with the headlights here, and then additional trees there, and the trees along South Amherst remain. So again, very similar. I'd say the big difference is they bumped out the parking to protect the Norway spruce, and they flip-flop where the double parking is right there.
They've maintained all the boundaries that we were concerned about with all the residents?
Correct. They maintained the boundaries. They did not, they kept it so they did not need to get an area variance. The remaining home here will be compliant with zoning, and it will remain.
so they're still taking down one home. They're
They
still,
are still-
they're still reducing, they're still taking down the one home.
Yes, yep.
And did they do, I mean, when we voted on this for, we gave it a positive declaration and required the preparation of an environmental impact statement for the project. So
Well, recommended,
I
yeah.
recommended, sorry.
And the town board did not move forward with that recommendation.
Okay.
Just another little detail that they did provide. They worked on their stormwater design a little bit more, and they are proposing to use an underground, kind of a smaller underground vault that was discussed a little bit at the planning board meeting. Some people were familiar with them, that they do require a little bit of periodic maintenance. So they were going to weave that into an agreement to make sure that that was done. And we'll see more of that. We have a TDE looking at this project as well. So we'll see more of that as that runs its course.
So Laura, I'm,
So wait, I just want to make sure that that's right. Originally, you guys recommended a positive deck,
We
but I
recommended a
thought that you
positive
then changed it to a negative deck once they saved the house.
that's true?
I thought so. Because the first one, the town, when they were taking down the two houses, you did a pause deck and the town board agreed with you and adopted it. And then the applicant withdrew his first proposal and came back.
Yeah. I thought there was I don't recollect exactly what we did there. To be honest with you, it looks like there's just very, very minor changes to this site plan. I'm wondering if this board needs to even make a recommendation.
Oh, no, yeah, you did still do a positive declaration.
Yeah,
You're
I
right.
thought,
Ellen.
yeah. Okay, so, there haven't been really substantial changes made to this from the way I viewed the positive deck on this.
Well, I think it's important that we note that they saved the tree. That was important. I mean, I can see in the notes here that the planning board thinks that it's a balance between, business and
Mhm.
residents. You're still taking down, a single family home in one of the most affordable places in Niskayuna. And we just said that we're going to build out like a crazy amount of places along the river for $500,000 or more, when this is clearly not what this area is perceived at. So it doesn't feel like we're following what the town's vision is, but I'm grateful for saving the tree.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot that's what happened. So I mean, you could just take this recommendation with a couple of notes, and then, because the plan really hasn't changed very much, and then send it to the planning board.
Yeah, you see, it's sort of an interesting situation. I view it as, it hasn't changed. We gave a positive deck. It was not taken up by the town board that way, which is definitely their prerogative in this. So we either have a choice of changing it to a negative deck, or just letting the positive deck stand, or saying that the project hasn't changed sufficient and not take. So what's the board's pleasure here?
So the only thing, sorry, that I have to add is that you specifically withheld your recommendation on site plan. So you would, because you did that, it was a very specific note that you made. You would still have to make a recommendation to the planning board. Say it hasn't changed a lot, here's our recommendation, or you could change it. But I think you couldn't just not make a recommendation because you withheld it on the site plan before.
Can I ask the reason?
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that nuance, Laura.
Yeah.
The reason the town board gave it a negative deck?
I think they just felt that, like I said, they had taken your pause deck recommendation when the two homes were coming down. They felt like they agreed that was too much of an encroachment into the neighborhood, and it was too much of taking of affordable housing. But they were kind of on the planning board's wavelength when the applicant came back and reduced the number of parking and only took down one house instead of two, and added a lot of the landscaping and the things that we had kind of talked to them about before. So, I don't think anybody wants to see an affordable home come down. I think the town board was just kind of landed where the planning board landed on the balance of the upgrades that would be happening to the Kia dealership and making that area more attractive. It was just a balance.
I think, just Laura, if I could add too, not advocating either way. Again, just trying to convey discussions from the planning board to the CAC. The applicant has expressed a pretty strong feeling that they feel like they've been trying to, and this board might not agree with this, but they feel like from when they started, when they wanted to take down two homes and do certain things, that they've been relatively flexible with the requests that were made of them to try to mitigate some things. Yes, they are still taking one home down, but they feel like they've worked a lot of landscaping, screening, saving the spruce tree. So from the perspective that they've expressed at the planning board meetings is that they feel they've been working very hard to try to find a middle ground or an appropriate compromise. And granted, everyone might not feel that way, but that's just the expression they've been giving at the planning board meetings.
And Complete Trees is really excited about the sidewalk. And actually although the neighbor has come out in opposition to this project a fair amount, they even included like landscaping an island over here to continually shield the view of the facility to the neighbor.
Laura, what are the next actions on this project? I mean,
My recommendation to you is if the proposal is largely the same, which it is, and if you don't feel like saving the Norway spruce tips the scales, which, I mean, I love the Norway spruce, but probably it doesn't, is that in order to be consistent, I mean, you'd really have to distinguish this plan from your old recommendation in order to do a different determination. So if you don't feel like it's that different and you feel like the issues remain, my recommendation would be to forward your recommendation that you made before with all the existing concerns to the planning board. I think that would make your findings the most consistent, unless you feel like, the buffering, and it really hasn't changed a whole lot though. So you got to be careful of being arbitrary and capricious. Just because the town board didn't take your plan doesn't mean that it wasn't true to what you guys found. And so if you feel like nothing has really changed from what you found before, then I think that would be what you would normally forward then onto the planning board.
so Laura, does a decision have to be made tonight on this project?
I don't believe
So-
I don't believe so.
Okay.
No, probably not, because we've started the TDE back on it again, but it needs a little more engineering. But I mean, if you don't do it tonight, you definitely have to do it at the next
Yeah.
meeting. If you
I
don't
would-
think you're going to change a whole lot, I would do it tonight just to be safe.
Well, I'll tell you what I would like to do and see if people on the board want to do it this way. I would like to review the text of the positive deck that we gave on this project. And then I would like to look at the delta on that and then forward it to the planning board, some decision based on that, with either saying, yes, there's been some improvements, but which items have and have not been met by that deck. And then we can have a discussion about what to do with that. But I would really like to make sure we understand exactly the words. How's that?
I would agree. I also think that we should be clear on what our priorities are as a committee versus, what that looks like. Because I think, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, sounds like we have a consensus on that. Do we, Chuck, are you still with us?
Yep. Yes.
What's your pleasure on this?
I will go with the committee's consensus on this. I guess I'm still concerned that it's, switching a neighborhood into a parking lot.
Yep.
So that hasn't changed in this plan.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine view there. I just want to make sure that we're going through an informed and deliberate decision on this. That's all.
Agreed.
Okay. All right, let's move to the final EAF. And that is EAF 2026-06. And that is a 2-lot minor subdivision at Rosendale Road, and that's 3515.
Yeah, and you guys don't need to spend a whole lot of time on this. I actually had this diagram in your packet last time, just to give you a heads up. The planning board did do sketch plan approval, so it's progressing to a minor subdivision. So you definitely need to take action on it at the next meeting. But it's just it's kind of like 2727 Balltown Road. It's a bigger parcel of 1.6 acres that is proposing to subdivide off one side of itself for a single family home. It's right behind the Dollar Tree.
And we determined that the Rite Aid access road is indeed a road.
It's definitely a road.
Is it a
It's
town road?
it doesn't have its own right of way. It has this 40-foot easement, but he did provide us with a copy of the easement.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions or sees any issues with this that they'd like resolved before we make a decision? Go ahead, Ellen. But
I think I was just I guess when I first looked at this, because it was between between Colony and us, and then what and what we were responsible for doing and making sure that what was followed. And I guess that was really my main question about, because it seemed like it was following all the process. Am I?
So the town of Colony told the applicant they wouldn't require an application. And I also sent a referral to them requesting comments, which they haven't sent me any. So it's unlikely that they will require a subdivision application, and it doesn't appear that they're going to give the town any comments on this subdivision. So the majority of it is in the town, and the piece that's in the town of Colony, which is right here, it's little bottom quarter, it isn't changing. So I think they have a couple more days to respond, but in essence, they have deferred to the town of Niskuna on this one.
it looks reasonable.
Okay. Do we want to make go through the questions and see if we want to make a motion here? Okay, Laura.
I'd recommend that you wait on this one. They have been working through their environmental assessment form, but it isn't complete.
Okay.
So I think you're not on a rush. It's a super late meeting, and you will have a little information at the next meeting. So
Okay.
I recommend waiting.
Oh, and right, Town of Colony also has a few more days to.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they have like 5 more days or something that they could comment.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
Else to bed today.
This was a haul.
Yeah.
I appreciate everybody's attention and fortitude. Okay, so I'm just getting back to the front.
Yeah, I don't have any.
Okay, paperwork is good, works well. Do we have any climate smart task force items that we want to discuss tonight?
No.
Anybody on the board? Any burning issue?
It's not burning. I'm just curious what happened between this month and last month with my legislative stuff, Laura.
It was brought to the Water, Sewer, and Engineering Committee and shared with them. They are thinking about it, and I'm hopeful that they'll decide to put it on for a resolution at next month's meeting. I'm hopeful.
And that's a prereq before it goes further.
Yeah, it has to come out of committee. So Ashok is the leader of that committee now.
Okay.
So hopefully that'll help.
Okay.
So do we need to, does somebody need to attend that meeting to answer any questions?
I go to that meeting. I did not go on Tuesday because I was home with a big sinus headache. So I actually didn't go to work on Tuesday. I worked at home. So I was unable to attend that meeting.
Okay,
I will attend the next one next month.
okay.
It was sent out to them. They've all got it. We've discussed the rules. So it's just a matter of, it's a different thing. They've switched all the committees around, and the environmental stuff's now going through the engineering committee, which is different. So they're not used to like moving legislation forward. So everybody's adjusting. But I'm hopeful at the next meeting that there'll be some.
I did personally reach out to Shook and tell him what we had done and stuff. There's everything.
And there was nothing from that first meeting, Laura, that they need an answer to.
No, I thought that, because we updated the referral from the CAC to them. So it's in the town attorneys. I made sure the town attorney was copied on the language. I may do one more thing to put the code a little more in context for next month, but I'm really hopeful that it'll move forward.
Okay.
All right. Any other burning issues?
I just want to give an update on, I did reach out to the Canal Corporation about Lomo for Lock 7.
Yep.
They're more than happy to come out and talk to us whenever we want. So it's just a matter of scheduling them for a meeting over the next month or two. And I'll do that with Laura and the chairman involvement to get them on the agenda.
Yay, thanks, Chuck.
All right. Well, thanks, Chuck, for that update. Okay. I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it carries unanimously.
Just Z had to go home early because he has a math midterm test. So if
Good luck.
everybody could just turn their microphones off when we're
Oh,
done.
no, he's
Oh, he's
there.
there. Oh,
Hey.
Yeah,
okay.
we're done.
Okay. Oh, awesome. Okay. Yeah.
Look in here.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody, thanks, E.